Is there nice news when it comes to Jasmy? Now, personally, for me, I would consider it that way, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and even though I'll talk about my shaved head later on in the video. But actually, let's get to this first, because it was recently announced that Jasmy Chain, the mainnet of it, I should say, is now live. I think it's a pretty big accomplishment. Why do I say that? It's because it's an EVM compatible, right? EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine, and as we all know, Ethereum is just very popular as a layer 1 blockchain. But besides that, the EVM compatible layer 2 Jasmy chain, it has successfully completed its mainnet migration. So now it's live. But here's the thing as well. When it comes to Jasmy, people like to say, okay, how does this have anything to do with like the Jasmy token, right? Now, supposedly, it's going to be acting as somewhat of a custom gas token. Because the thing is, when it comes to Jasmy chain, built on Arbitrum, Orbit, right? And Arbitrum is a very popular Ethereum layer 2. And again, it's powered by Jasmy as a custom gas token. So really, in the grand scheme of things, I'm very happy with what I see when it comes to the Jasmy chain, because again, if Jasmy acts as a gas token, I'll be happy because it gives Jasmy a little bit more of a use case in my perspective, right? It's not like I felt that it was lacking in terms of that, but it's not bad. You know what I mean? If there's more use cases for a project that I do like, hypothetically, I'm a fan of that at the end of the day. Now, people like to tell me, okay, with all this in mind though, Jasmy, it's still down by quite a lot. I'm totally aware of that. I mean, altcoins generally have had, a little bit of a recovery, but Jasmy's still around 30 times lower than 25 cents. So we're not talking about it even doing the best at all, and it's nowhere near where it was like not too long ago. But I'm not necessarily concerned because if a project that I'm a fan of fundamentally improved, yet it's sitting at a lower point, and yet I'm dollar cost averaging, I'm not going to complain about that. Why would I complain that I'm able to dollar cost average at a lower point? This is my perspective. Again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But here's the thing. When it comes to something like this, right, the Jasmy chain, hypothetically, we can take a look at potential AI use cases, right? Maybe. Who knows? But I like the sound of that. Now, does this mean that automatically every single developer out there that's focused on AI is going to gravitate towards Jasmy chain? Nah, I highly doubt that, at least in the very near future, but who knows, right, long term. And also on top of that as well, when I take a look at Jasmy's kind of growth so far in terms of the fundamentals, not in terms of the charts, I'm quite a fan of it because it seems to be doing something. A lot of other projects out there as massive as Jasmy, they don't really care anymore. They're done. They checked out, they don't really care. But when I take a look at Jasmy, I like the dedication of the team and I like the perseverance. And why would I not? Historically, I've seen how Jasmy's team even had people who used to work at places like Sony, and Sony is just very popular overall. So yeah, that's my point of view. And I think that this right here, sometimes people like to say, again, it's not really affecting the charts, but something won't really affect the charts that much, like good news and all this nice news or whatever. That's not really going to do much if there is no altcoin season. If there's no change when it comes to altcoins, this type of stuff right here, it just simply wouldn't do much in terms of the charts, at least in the short term. But we have to think about the implications of it in the long term, right? How this could reflect positively upon a project later on when there is maybe hypothetically an altcoin season. Sometimes people take a look back at stuff like this. It's like, for instance, when we want to sometimes eat at a restaurant, we take a look at the reviews, right? And that is the track record. And when it comes to Jasmy, the track record is something like this, the resume, what they did, how they developed, all this type of stuff, right? What they launched, that type of stuff matters. It's kind of like, again, eating at a restaurant and I take a look at the reviews. Sometimes that does matter. Even though a restaurant that is rated like 1 star versus another one that is rated like 5 stars or like, 4.8 stars or whatever out of 5. Like, even if that food in that 1-star restaurant may be so good, I probably would just automatically gravitate to the one with a higher rating just by kind of default, right? Just because it feels like to me, because I've never tried any of it, that it has a better track record and a better customer review, right? Sometimes within this space, I kind of see it that way because sometimes, again, during an altcoin season, people take a look back, at what the project did, at what it has accomplished. So sometimes that does matter, I think, to a certain extent. So hypothetically, 25 cents, I'm just still thinking about that. Who knows what will exactly happen, though, because I do not know the future and I will never be able to know that. But then it's just something I'm thinking about in my mind because actually, at that point, considering the current circulating supply of Jasmy, the market cap would be around 12.5 billion, which, for arguably the number two most popular project within the space of data storage within the specific niche, right? I just don't think maybe that seems like so hypothetically ridiculous to me. I mean, Dogecoin reached around 80 billion in terms of market cap back in 2021 years ago. We're in 2026 right now. So is 12.5 billion really too much to ask for? This is sometimes the question that I ask myself, but hypothetically, if someone told me that I thought no, I guess I'd probably agree with that. But here's the thing as well. Shiba Inu reached around 40 billion in terms of market cap. So 12.5 billion really in the grand scheme of things, that's like over 3 times lower than that, right? But yeah, besides that point as well, when I just take a look at Jasmy, I simply haven't given up because I'm a fan of the project. I'm just still waiting. I'm still holding, but that's pretty much about it. But really, when I take a look at what they recently announced when it comes to the layer 2 and all this type of stuff, again, the things that are going on with the Jasmy chain and maybe the use cases for AI when it comes to that, I'm quite a fan of it because, again, AI as of right now within this niche, it's not really such a big narrative, but who knows if there's an altcoin season, because I saw it become a pretty big narrative not too long ago before altcoins had kind of a pullback, right? So yeah, just overall, I'm still a fan of what they're doing, and I'm kind of waiting to see what could happen next when it comes to Jasmy. People like to say this is not the best timing of them announcing this. Okay, maybe, but sometimes a project can't time it properly. Like, here's the thing, and it's not even something that they want to do anyways. For instance, if a project is developing something, when they launch it, it's just whenever they want to launch it, right? It's when the project is done, when the update is done. That's it. Why not announce it? Why wait? Oh, we're going to purposely make it longer. So then when there's an altcoin season, it's like, why? A lot of other projects out there, they just do that. So when people like to say, oh, it's bad timing, I don't agree with that actually. Because if a project is developing, why does it matter what's going on with the charts? Because it's all going to be reflected upon later anyways, right? It's going to be considered later on anyways. So who cares if it's not the best timing in my perspective? And it's pretty difficult to do that. Imagine if I'm a project developer and I'm looking to launch something and then I'm trying to time it with the market. It's just not possible for me to do that. Like, I won't be able to do that. I'll just do it anyways. I'll just launch it, right? So then later on, if there's hypothetically, a better sentiment when it comes to this space, then it could reflect better later on. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily such bad timing. I mean, imagine if they waited like another year to do this, then it's just like wasting time for no reason. So yeah, I mean, in that 1 year, imagine the developers that could be had, right? Imagine kind of the improvements that could be had. So why wait? That's the way I take a look at it. When it comes to sometimes a project developing, like, why is it bad improving? It's like, for instance, if I want to improve my home or whatever, I'm just going to do it. That's kind of my perspective. If I want to improve, I'll just try to improve anyways. I'm not going to wait for certain scenarios, I guess. This is my perspective. So I think sometimes Jasmy might have that mentality. Who knows? But it seems that way to me. And again, I'm just hypothetically still thinking about 25 cents, but we'll wait and see what happens. I still like Jasmy's presence when it comes to data storage. And also on top of that, it's not the most popular niche, but at least Jasmy's like the second most popular. So I guess I won't necessarily complain about that. And again, second most popular within that specific niche. So imagine if there was maybe, let's say, attention for that space during an altcoin season and Jasmy can, for whatever reason, sustain that number 2 position in terms of popularity. Would 25 cents surprise me? Who knows? But I think probably, maybe hypothetically in a make-believe scenario, no. This is my perspective. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. However, yeah, before I end the video, I first want to talk about again why I shaved my head. Well, I just did it for fun. But you know what? It's going to grow back in 2 weeks. Whatever. I just did it for fun. But yeah, it's going to grow back. So that's the way to take a look at it. I want to say thank you for watching. It's Lee the Captain, and I hope you all have a very nice day. And if there's going to be more videos when it comes to Jasmy to be made, if there's updates and stuff like that, I'll hopefully be making them. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you all have a very nice day.